Okay, we are going to be looking at, just checking it's in focus. Oh, yep, that's good. Okay, we are looking at green sort 51 words today. Okay, so last week we looked at adding y and ly to words to change the word. Now, this week we are adding 2 more suffixes. Remember, we have 3 lessons of suffixes. This is the second one. We are adding and est. So we're adding I've actually got buttons for these, so I'll bring them out. So these are our vowel suffixes. They are vowel suffixes if they start in a vowel, basically. So, just as a tip, when you add a consonant suffix, and we're going to be doing 3 common consonant suffixes next week, you don't make any changes to the base word. So when you're adding these suffixes, you do not change the base word. However, when you're adding suffixes that begin with a vowel, you do have to think about the possibility of changing the base word. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So this week is actually a little bit trickier from the spelling point of view. Next week is actually pretty easy. You just take these base words and we're going to be looking at ness, full, and less. So if you go happiness, darkness, illness, fearful, restless, it's pretty much, it's pretty straightforward. You just put them on the end. Okay, so let's have a look at these words here. Okay, so we are going to look at 2 types of words that are adding ER. We're going to look at base words that don't end in E, base words that don't end in Y, and base words that end in Y, and look at how we apply these 2 endings. So let's have a look at the word brave. That doesn't end in Y, so that's our first base word. And then we're going to look at a base word that ends in Y. So we're going to look at pretty. Pretty. Okay, so these are 2 base words that we're going to add ER to. Now, if we just take our base word brave and then add ER, what's the problem? We've got this weird double E thing, bravier. Obviously not what we want to write. So when you add a vowel ending to a word that ends in E, you actually drop the E. So that's kind of easy. I think even if you'd forgotten to drop the E, I think as you write it out, you sort of think, yeah, that doesn't look quite right. So let's look at one more example. Close. That is very close. Come even closer. No, we can't have this double ER, can we? Just doesn't look right. So we've got closer like that. So that's actually that's not too tricky. Hopefully that won't trip you up, because I think as soon as you get the EE, it just looks wrong. Then we have to consider our 111 again. So if it is a single syllable with 1 vowel and 1 consonant, if it ticks all of those 3 criteria, we have to double the middle letter when we add an ending that begins in a vowel. Okay, so sorry, I'm just looking at, okay, so going back to this, so does that yes single syllable, yes single vowel, yes single consonant, so I have to double the middle letter before I add That would be the same as if you were adding the hot-ish. Yeah, it's kind of hot-ish. I mean, goodness me, it's not a very good word, but you get the idea about adding vowel suffixes. You have to double the middle letter if it's a 111. Okay, let's look at a word that you don't have to do anything to. Weak. It doesn't obey that because it doesn't have a single vowel, so that doesn't need doubling. It doesn't have an E at the end of it. So this is a word where we just add that. Weak, weaker. Okay, so things you're looking out for is, do I have to double the middle letter or do I have to drop the E? drop the E, double middle letter. They're the two questions you're asking yourself when you're adding ER. Okay, let's have a look at what you do if you have a word ending in Y. So we want prettier. Okay, when we have a word that ends in Y, when we bring in an ending of any kind, the Y can go away and the I comes back. And the only reason the Y was there in the first place is because we cannot have an English word end in Y. You can't have that word. So the I says, oh, very sadly, I cannot end this word. So you go to write the word pretty, and the I says, help, I can't finish this word. And the Y comes along and says, don't worry, I'll finish the word for you, I'll hold your place. Okay? And Y lives there so long as that word exists like that. But then we want to do an ending. We want to say prettier. And then Y doesn't need to be there anymore. So you can go on holiday and I can come back. Yay, I'm back where I wanted to be. That is the story behind this IY thing. So if you keep the story straight in your mind, it gets a lot easier. So I wants to be there. So think of I as super keen. I really want to be there, like they're just super keen to be at the end of that word, but they can't end a word. So the rule is, if they end the word, then Y comes in, hero Y. But if an ending comes in and it's no longer the end of the word, then I can come back because he loves to be there, he or she. We're not gender specific with letters, okay? So prettier. So hopefully that will help you spell. So let's apply that same rule to another word that starts with Y, ends with Y. Let's go happy. Happy, happier. Remember? I'm no longer finishing a word, I can come back. So happy comes back, happier. So I wants to be there if it can. It just can't end words. So if it's not ending a word, it's going to be there. Okay? So that's and we'll actually look at how it's pretty much the same rule with est. So all the spelling rules are the same. So let's look at, we did brave, braver. Let's look at bravest. Brave, est. Straight away you can see that you need to drop that E. You cannot have that double E. It just looks totally wrong, doesn't it? We've got cool. You're very cool, but he's the coolest. Well, that's easy. Doesn't need an E drop, and it doesn't need a double middle letter. So that's easy. And then we've got exactly the same rules here. We'll just do it with one word. We'll do crazy. Crazy, crazy est. What happens? You tell me. Remember how keen I is to get back in there if they can? Can I be there? Yes, I can, because I'm no longer ending a word, so I can come back. And that's how you spell craziest. Okay, let's whip through this word sort, because I have a feeling this video is getting rather long. Okay, let's go super fast. Right, so we've got and est. And we've got ear and est. I don't want to have those. Okay, we're going to have and est, and we're going to have words that we're going to have non-Y words, and we're going to have Y words. Okay, so that's two categories, and we're going to have est. So we're going to have non-Y and Y words. That's how I'm doing it. Okay, so let's do non-Y words at So we've already done these. I'm just going to whip through these. Braver, calm, calm. Don't need to double the middle letter. Don't need to drop an E. Just pop ER on the end. Closer. We already looked at that word. Stronger. Don't need to double the middle letter. Don't need to drop an E. Just add on ER. Easy. Cooler. Hotter. We do need to double the middle letter because it's one syllable, one vowel, one consonant. We must double the middle letter. weaker. We don't need to double the middle letter. We don't need to drop an E. Okay, so we've got 7 words there. Perfect. Okay. Now we've got adding ER when we've got a Y. So in all of them, we've gone through it quite thoroughly. Basically, the Y goes away and the I comes back. So the base word is happy, but the Y goes away and the I comes back because I'm adding this ER ending. Easier, prettier, crazier. Okay, so crazier is a comparative descriptive word. So you have to be thinking of someone who's crazy for someone else to be crazier. Oh man, he's crazy, but she's even crazier. So it's a comparative. It's today is hot, but yesterday was even hotter. So you sort of have to have something to compare to use the ER suffix. I just been too busy talking about spelling rules to actually talk about what these words mean. Okay, so I got the car very dirty. Huh, I got it even dirtier. Okay, so that means it's even more dirty than it was. And of course, Y goes away, I comes back because it's no longer ending the word. Okay, let's whip through these. We've got bravest, bravest, drop the E. Calmest, we don't have to do anything. Don't have to double the middle letter, don't have to drop the E. Close, well, we do have to drop the E, and then we add EST. You might be thinking, oh, why did you just rub out the E to write it again? Because it's just good in your brain to be thinking that you drop the E and add the ending. So I'm doing that just to help you. Strong. Don't have to double the middle letter. Don't have to drop the E. So I just add est. Cool, same. Don't need to double the middle letter. Don't need to add drop E. Coolest. Hottest. Do need to double the middle letter because of the single vowel, single consonant, single syllable, and weakest. So they're all the same word. It's actually it's not a very tricky word list, to be honest. I'm expecting lots of 100% next week. Okay, so exactly as we've done here, the Y goes away, the I comes back because it's no longer ending the word. So we get happy, but we finish it with an I, so it's happy est. Easy est. Pretty est. Crazy est. Dirty. Now if you ever wrote dirty, planning on putting the ending, you think, oh, actually no, I don't want the ending. Well, I's going to have to go away and Y will have to come back because you cannot finish a word with an I. And then you change your mind again, you go, oh, no, actually I do want to write dirtiest. Ugh, well, then you're going to need to get a rubber and rub out Y because I will come back if it's not ending the word. Okay, and that is your word list for this week. So have fun practicing those words. Bye.